there, this is Dr. Jay Burns at Resurrect Skin MD in Dallas, Texas, and welcome to the next Laser Guru. I'm going to talk a little bit about patients' concerns that are out there on the internet and social media and in our office about the potential for treatments, laser treatments and technology treatments to cause fat loss. That's a very reasonable thing. Fat loss is a sign of aging. It's something that you don't want, and we would never want that to happen in the face. You may be having Ozempic, and fat loss is great. If you're losing weight, it'll make you more healthy and it will cause saggy skin. But they're saying, what are treatments that will actually cause fat loss and cause divots or depressions and add to this saggy skin? Well, just think about it very simply. You actually have to heat the fat up to melt the fat. It's just that simple. The treatment has to get into the fat. So you can be worried but worried for nothing. You have to know the signs. So I'm going to try to help you with this. Probably the device that causes more fat loss potentially than any other is monopolar RF. It's an old treatment. It's coming back because it's pretty cheap to make, and it's marketed very, very aggressively. And you'd have to market aggressively because it doesn't really hold up to the other treatments, in my opinion. Monopolar RF is hard to control. I won't get into the entire physics of it all, but you are actually putting an electrode on one part of the face. I could put it right here, and the grounding pad is back on your back or on your belly, and it has to go through your entire body, and it goes through down the paths of least resistance, and that's fibrous tissue, and it runs through your fat. So it can absolutely, if there's too much resistance in those fibrous tissues that it's running through, it will create heat, and if those fibrous tissues are in the fat, you can lose fat. Let's contrast that with something like lasers. They may penetrate 600 microns. That's 600 microns into the skin, and there's no way you can get to the fat with that. It may penetrate, there's some lasers that will even penetrate 1,500 microns, but most skin in the face is 1.5 to 3 to 4 millimeters thick, and there's hardly any laser that I know of that will go through that and get into the fat. So lasers typically do not cause fat loss. Soft wave chills the skin, but the way it's non-focused ultrasound, so by the time that ultrasound gets to the dermal fat junction, it's not hot enough. The heat is almost all at the top of the skin in the epidermis, and that's chill so it doesn't hurt the epidermis. But by the time it gets to the bottom of the dermis, it is not hot enough to melt fat. Soft wave cannot melt fat. It's impossible from a physics standpoint. So I hope that helps a little bit when you're talking about different technologies. Let's say radiofrequency microneedling. Most of the microneedling needles are not big enough to get through the dermis. You don't want to. Now, some of these needles that they've come out with that they're trying to get into your body, they may go through the skin and get into your fat, and they can cause little areas of depression. But quite honestly, how do we fix those? We fix them with the same lasers in the dermis, and we try to have those treatments that I just mentioned that won't get through the dermis, heat up the dermis, and create new collagen, which will build that and volumize it, and will take away from the loose skin that you're getting from Ozempic, and hopefully you're not getting from the other devices. Don't use the devices that gives you any chance of melting fat. You're on track to ask the right questions, but just know that you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? Don't throw out soft wave and lasers as potentially causing fat loss, which they can't do it just because a few of these can. I've told you the ones that can. You can be concerned about that. That's why I continue to tell people to avoid those. I was involved with that technology, but that's 20 years ago, 25 years ago. That's old news. Why they're bringing it back is beyond me. It's because it's cheaper, it's easier, and there's and the best lasers have patents on them that they can't duplicate. So they're going in different directions, but it's the wrong direction. If you stay with lasers, soft wave, even some radiofrequency microneedling, although I believe I've had 6 or 7 of those devices, and soft wave to me is by far the best one for thickening the dermis. Those are the things that you should stay with, and you don't have to worry about about losing fat with those devices. Stay away from monopolar RF deep devices that penetrate the fat and heat up the fat. That's what you want to try to avoid. I hope that's been helpful to you. I hope you continue to follow us on Laser Guru.